Welcome back to the Playing Inspired Night podcast. I'm your host, Ben Rycroft. This week's a little bit different. We're going to be talking about Ontario Soccer Summit, March 1st to 3rd, and London. 3 days on-field and in-class sessions. Speakers are coming from all over the world to speak at this year's delegates. And we happen to have one of them here today, a returning member of this podcast, a returning speaker to Ontario Soccer Summit, and this year, a keynote speaker as well, Nancy Spotton of MPWR. Nancy, thanks for joining me.
So excited to be here, always.
Always full of lots of energy. And last time around we had you on the podcast, lots of spin-off conversations happened. And one of the things that I routinely saw after the fact was people saying something to the effect of, it can't be as easy as she's saying. A smile, an engagement of a conversation, is this really how easy it is to relate to millennials? And I think there was some questioning in those statements. So for me, is it that easy, Nancy?
This is a fun conversation, Ben. It is a fun conversation, and I would say, yes, it is that easy. But the one thing that I do, especially when I walk into the classroom, the first thing I do is I have to set expectations. Like, I set expectations that I will lean into you to build your trust, because building trust is a proactive behavior. So I have to lean in and build trust, and I have to be the first person to lean in and extend my hand. And it's just like the simple things like that that make a big difference. So it is. It's simple. That's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy.
I like that. For us, we're looking ahead to 2019, Ontario Soccer Summit, just around the corner. But let's look sort of a little broader as to what's happening in the workplace right now. 2019, what are some of the trends you see emerging, not just with millennial workplaces, but sort of progressive workplace cultures in general? What are the things to look for in 2019?
Okay, a couple of really interesting things. I would say what I reiterate, I think I mentioned this to you when we spoke before, but small, medium-sized businesses are going to be the most attractive place to start your career journey for top-performing millennials. So a soccer club would be an excellent place, because they learn communication skills, they learn how to interact with a bunch of different people, they learn how to be organized, they learn how to critically think, they learn how to get up and be on time, like little things like that. But those small and medium-sized enterprises are going to be an incredible attractor of top-performing millennial talent. And data analytics, everything surrounding data, which isn't what I see a lot of in the soccer community. It's not something that's very prevalent, particularly in the clubs. It's not that it can't be, but it is a very big piece of the puzzle moving forward. That and technology. So we were talking offline about this, but in regards to soccer specifically, having a bit of an advantage right now with the World Cup 2026 not too far down the line. A lot of people are looking at it, those top performers, you want to start attracting those top performers into your clubs and academies. That 2026 benchmark is looking pretty attractive to a lot of new people into the marketplace. Just speak a little bit more to that in terms of how soccer is uniquely positioned right now to attract those top performers. Okay, so what I see is soccer provides such an experience, such a rich experience. Every kid that I pull into my classroom, or a lot of the top performers that walk through my door that I coach, all come back to that. Their first experience as either a player or a coach or going to a game. So it is so alluring for people to be part of that experience. People really want to be part of that experience. I hear a lot of chatter right now in the millennial generation about CPL, about the World Cup that's coming. How can they be involved? And what a great entry point, but clubs, districts, anything like that. Like, we need to work together to unite to figure out how we can continue to create opportunities for the millennials, because right now, the passion, the experience that set the interest, and then the opportunity is in front of us with 2026. We need to create some, opportunities specifically within the clubs, like working together to figure that out, because they're there. They would be there in a second. They would love the opportunity.
What does that experience look like, ideal experience look like for a millennial? If you've attracted them in, you've got them on your team.
Chaos.
What sort of, so put them into chaos, you're saying? Put millennials into chaos and they'll thrive?
Yeah, busy, busy, busy. They love to be part of a team. They love feedback. Okay, so they are 22% higher in criticism and anger, and they're 15.7% higher in support and affection, which means they express, they love to talk, they express, but they also love to receive the feedback. Put them in a team, care about them, talk to them, involve them. Team, talk, involve, care. And if we created a structure like that, they're also very high in information processing, which means that they thrive in chaos. And if you sit them down and say, here's one linear task, they're going to get bored. They don't sit still for very long. It is about, here are 4 people, and you two are going to work together to figure out how we can involve ourselves in the 2026 train. I don't know what that looks like, sure. But if you were to involve them, put them on teams, don't put them by themselves, put them on teams, care about them, give them feedback. Things like that, simple things like that, working together to figure that out, that would be fun.
I think that's going to be a strong message for our club and academy and district community in general, because they're not necessarily born millennials. They may have millennials around them, but they're not intuitive to that messaging. And so for me, teaching them at Ontario Soccer Summit some of these little tricks and tips is going to be really powerful for that community. So for those who weren't there at the last Ontario Soccer Summit, who got to see you, and everything we heard coming out of that talk with people were raving about what they had to say. I'm not just blowing smoke. They really were. Like it was interesting to see. It's rare to see such a positive and uplifted reaction after one of these. Generally, it's a long weekend. People are tired, and people came out beaming and were full of energy. So that's to me a sidebar, but the thing that I think people are going to take away is to look at their clubs and academies and districts and staff very differently coming away from it. So for those who weren't there, what can they expect from the Nancy Spotton keynote this year coming up March 1st to 3rd in London?
Well, I would always say this, it's always an experience, and it's always with, it's never at. And so the fundamental difference between with and at, we bring you in. And that's really what the Ontario Soccer whole value system is all about. The whole brand is centered around unite. And if we have an opportunity with 2026, how can we unite and work together to figure out solutions, ideas? So we will, at the summit, stimulate the thinking, the learning, and the growing together. And that's how I will bring it to the keynote, and that you and I can continue these discussions, and that we can have these discussions in the hall and pull everybody else in about how can we think, learn, and grow together so that we collectively can unite to really make 2026 a powerful, powerful soccer experience for Canada.
And a powerful soccer experience at Ontario Soccer Summit, surely going to be part of that as well. My last question, I read it to you beforehand and you refused to let me ask it. So I'm going to ask it anyways and then reframe it so that you can sort of spin off of it. Originally what it was something to the effect of, for those who are on the fence about committing to their development at Ontario Soccer Summit and weren't quite sure, what would you say to them to inspire them to go further? But I'll ask it a different way as well. Nancy, you have just this boundless amount of energy within you, and I think more than anything, that's what people are going to come away remembering about you from Ontario Soccer Summit. But for those who haven't seen you previously, tell us a little bit about what your sales pitch would be to, say, me. What would your sales pitch be to me, Ben Rycroft, to attend the Ontario Soccer Summit if I wasn't so much employed here as well?
Okay. So how I always communicate about these types of opportunities are, I do it in a formula. I'm 60% love, 30% data, and 10% kick your I'm not sure if I can swear on this. Anyhow.
We'll bleep it if we have.
Here's how I would frame it out. You have an opportunity to take it upon yourself to drive your own development. You should be setting a goal. What is your personal goal in life? And then the Soccer Summit is a wonderful ecosystem of people that you can learn from, interact, and learn with. And that's how you're going to elevate yourself. And what a rich experience, that's what I would say. You can't miss it because this is where the minds are meeting. And that's where it gets really fun. And it's not just the keynotes and it's not just the sessions, the workshops. It's those interactions in the hall, how much you learn from that. It's about the connectivity of seeing people, like people that you haven't seen for so long, and the opportunity even just to reconnect and say hello.
Networking is one of the things we see across the board when we do our surveying after the fact. What do you like about it? And that networking opportunity is such a big thing. That's been Nancy Spotton. I did get the answer out of you that I was hoping for. strong sales pitch. But that's been Nancy Spotton. You're going to want to catch her keynote March 1st to 3rd in London at the Ontario Soccer Summit. Tickets are on sale now. Pricing available for just about everybody in our membership. It makes it really affordable for everybody to attend. It's a 3-day event. It's fantastic. As I mentioned, the networking is a big part of it. And for us, come be part of the premier development opportunity for Ontario and Canada. So for Nancy, I'm Ben. Until we see you next time, we encourage you to play, inspire, and unite. And in this case, discover, develop, and excel.